Thank you, Christy. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you to Reed Corporate for the opportunity once again. I've titled the presentation Closing In on Breakthrough Mineral Discoveries in the Eastern Seaboard. I think from announcements that we made earlier last week, perhaps we have that breakthrough discovery at Rip and Tear, but I'll get into that in a little bit more detail in a moment or two. Talisman has three assets. I'll start at the bottom. So we have an iron ore royalty from Mineral Resources on a Pilbara project called Wonmunna. The iron ore royalty delivered us $7.8 million in free cash last year, and that free cash is deployed by investing it in exploration in the Lachlan Fold Belt as our lead exploration project and a recently acquired project in the Gawler Creighton in South Australia. So we're looking for large-scale, high-grade deposits in the Lachlan Fold Belt and looking for large iron oxide copper-gold projects in South Australia. Talisman lives by its mantra of shareholder value. Now, we have the DNA of Jubilee mines throughout the entire company. Jubilee obviously were a super successful mining company on a major nickel discovery in Western Australia back in the early 2000s and delivered to shareholders significant uplift, and that DNA pervades everything that we do at Talisman. You'll see in a moment or two on the next slide the number of directors that are ex-Jubilee directors and sit within Talisman, and they're bringing the same discipline and the same focus as Jubilee received from them nearly 20 years ago. The corporate arrangements, so we have a very modest 187 million shares on issue. We have $8 million cash. We have three directors: Brian Dawes, mining engineer; Jeremy Kirkwood, corporate finance; Kerry Hermanis, business and entrepreneurialism on the board; and three geologists: Peter Benjamin, myself, and a new appointment as our exploration manager, Tim Sharp, who make up the board. Tim's not on the board, he's the exploration manager. Firstly, Wonmunna. It's a modest size iron ore project. MinRes are the fifth largest iron ore producer in Australia behind BHP, FMG, Rio Tinto and Hancock. So very significant iron ore producer in their own right. They've done a fantastic job at Wonmunna. We're a receiver of a 1% revenue royalty. Iron ore pricing has been, for this grade material at 58%, has been between $90 and $95 for the last 2 years. We received $7.8 million in royalty payments in 2023. My expectation is going to be a very similar number, somewhere between $7.5 and $8 million for this current financial year. So we're very happy with the royalty. It's working particularly well. It has 57 million tonnes of reserve at the project, so it'll run at that 10 million tonne per annum run rate for somewhere between 5 and 6 years. And there is an additional substantial resource behind that that hasn't been converted to reserve. So our expectation is this royalty will run for in excess of a decade, that we can see very clearly at this stage, in addition to whatever MinRes are able to convert that additional resource into. So we value this royalty very highly, and it obviously is serving us particularly well at this point in time. Onto the Lachlan Fold Belt. So Lachlan is a bit over 6,000 square k's of ground. It's on the eastern side of the Cobar Basin, or the Cobar Super Basin. And for the geos in the room, you need to be on either the eastern edge or the western edge of that basin to find the larger, higher grade deposits. There are some base metals deposits, particularly VMS base metals deposits in the centre of the basin, such as Cobar itself. But the larger ones tend to be on the edges of these geological domains. We spent the COVID year of 2021 and the wet year of 2022 doing a lot of surface geophysics because we couldn't get on the ground to drill any holes. So we didn't let things stagnate for ourselves. We did everything that we were possible to do in that period, and that geophysical data sets are serving us very well in the target generation and the targeting of the drilling program that's running at the moment. So we have a very good data set of geophysics to do our target generation with, and that has led to, and sorry, I'll just go back one slide. So in the southern half of that slide there are 4 projects, the first of which was Rip and Tear. Rip and Tear is an EM target, electromagnetics target. The electromagnetic survey, particularly that northern anomaly that you see, goes from one side of the survey to the other. The first 2 drill holes into that northern anomaly came in at 192 metres at 1.3% lead and 10 grams of silver. The second hole, another kilometre to the east, came in at 84 metres at 1.5% lead and 15 grams of silver. The bottom 20 metres of both of those holes went significantly better grade than the top parts of those intersections. The zinc is starting to show up in the bottom parts of those holes as well, and both those holes ended in mineralisation. For instance, number 2 hole there went from 40 metres to 232 metres and ended in the highest grade mineralisation in the hole. Number 3 went from 170 metres through to 260 metres, ended in the highest grade mineralisation in the hole. We're mobilising a diamond rig to those to put diamond tails on the bottom of those 2 holes. Diamond rig left Mount Isa yesterday, should be in at the project tomorrow, and so over the weekend and hopefully for the next number of weeks we'll be drilling diamond holes off the 7 RC holes that we've done at that project to date. Of those 7 holes, 6 of them ended in mineralisation, and we couldn't drive the RC rig any deeper because the amount of water that we were receiving in the holes exceeded the capacity of the sumps to take any more water. So rather than have water spill all over the farmland, we terminated those holes, and we'll come back and do it with diamond drilling over this next 3 or 4 weeks. So my message really is watch this space on these holes. We don't know how deep these holes will get in mineralisation, but we certainly think that we're onto a major discovery here. Other projects in the portfolio, this is the second of the 4 that we've been drilling in this last 4 or 5 weeks with the RC rig, a project called Noisy Ned. It's about 20 kilometres north of the Rip and Tear project. We're looking for big IOCG type, sorry, not IOCG, porphyry copper type projects here. Big porphyry copper discoveries in the region, Cadia, North Parks, Cowell, Boda. So we are looking for that scale of kind of deposit. Noisy Ned, it's 2 big gravity anomalies which are shown in blue there. One's 10 kilometres by 10 kilometres, the other's 5 kilometres by 5 kilometres. Very early days here for us. We have a couple of broad intersections there in some historical drilling, 112 metres at 0.16 zinc, 20 plus metres at 0.33 copper, so there's enough smoke there to give us encouragement to go and find out exactly where the mineralisation is going to be around these projects. But as I mentioned, it's very early days for us. We've done a detailed gravity survey inside that little highlighted square in the middle of the diagram there. That highlighted square contains a big gravity anomaly in a northeast-southwest orientation, which is the blue colour. And over the top of that you have a bridge of rock that we believe also has these porphyry intrusions in it. We've just done 5 RC holes into those, what we think are porphyry intrusions. No assays back yet, but they should be back during the course of November. Project in South Australia. It's an early stage entry level project. It's up in the northeast corner of the Gawler Craton. So Gawler contains all the big copper discoveries, Oak Dam, Olympic Dam, Carrapateena, Prominent Hill, all run by BHP and Oz Minerals. We're as I mentioned, in the northeast corner. A significant difference between the northeast corner and the northwest corner. Significant difference is the cover in the northwest corner is significantly shallower than what you get down around the BHP mines. BHP's mines are anywhere between 400 and 900 metres of barren cover to get through to the ore. In the northwest corner, the cover's somewhere between 50 and 150 metres. So a junior can get on and make a significant discovery and then do something meaningful with it. We've been in the Geological Survey of South Australia, picked up all the data from this project. That's a magnetics picture. It also has a big government-funded seismic survey that was done across that sort of central blue line that runs through the middle of that project. So we have an excellent data set provided for free from the Geological Survey. We'll be out there in the December quarter doing a detailed gravity survey, and the detailed gravity and the magnetics that you see on that picture will be combined to generate the targets for our drilling program. Probably, I've been a bit ambitious saying it's going to be late 2023. I think it's more likely to be March quarter of 2024 at this stage. But it's a very solid project, lots of smoke. It was previously owned by Teck and Vale, who drilled some deeper holes into it, got some copper, but it wasn't a Teck or Vale scale intersections that they received, so they have walked. We picked the project up from a junior for a couple of $100,000 about 6 months ago, so it's a pretty cheap entry for us into a project of this quality and this scale. So in summary, I think Talisman's got a compelling story for a junior in that we have a cash flow that funds everything that we've got ambition to do in the exploration space. If we're successful enough to find these significant deposits, then we'll be well placed to fund that, not only through our royalty, but also with a strong shareholder base that exists in the company at this stage. So we're really looking forward to getting on the ground and getting these diamond holes in over this next 3 or 4 weeks, and then getting on the ground at Noisy Ned and getting on the ground in South Australia to complete everything that we have to do. Kerry Hermanis and I will be at the booth for the duration of the day. Happy to receive questions and get into a bit more detail if investors are interested in a bit more detail. Thank you very much.